Enthusiasm, Disc 2.
Chapter 4. 10th grade. Extracurriculars. A sonnet. The dream faded soon enough, however, and I awoke to the cold, hard knowledge that summer was over. I speak metaphorically, of course. Actually, it was still pretty hot out, especially in my attic bedroom. Mom is always promising to redo the insulation if business ever picks up. Monday morning, Mom made me my traditional back-to-school breakfast. Whole wheat buttermilk waffles with maple syrup and homemade sour cherry jam. Ashley's candy-making phase had a strong jam component. For an extra treat, Mom set the table downstairs in the front parlor at a claw-footed oak table that's been on sale for several years. If it ever does sell, I'll miss it terribly. I brushed my hair quickly, put on my lucky thumb ring, and came downstairs. I was wearing some of the clothes my stepmother had provided, and a little worried that my mother would notice and ask where they had come from. Indeed, she looked me up and down appraisingly. All she said, though, was, "How nice you look, honey." At school, Ash and I were disappointed to find that we had different homerooms. She drew Frau Richthof Murphy, the German teacher, and I landed the notorious math teacher, Mr. Clamp. Mr. Clamp laid down the law. No tardiness, no talking above 40 decibels, no untied shoelaces, no visible undergarments, no eating, no chewing gum, no chewing tobacco, no chewing betel nuts, no chewing coca leaves, no chewing out students, unless Mr. Clamp was doing the chewing out, no chewing out teachers, unless ditto, no unnecessary displays of temper, unless ditto, no unnecessary displays of affection, no exceptions. No pets over 1 ounce or under 1 ton, and no singing, except in Bulgarian. I began to think Mr. Clamp wouldn't be so bad, which was lucky since I had him for math as well. This year, the social highlights of my homeroom included 3 of the grade's 5 Seths, Tall Alex and Mad Alex, Michelle Jeffries, Cordelia Nixon, and one of the Gerard twins, Yolanda or Yvette. The Y girls are identical twins. The same light-footed roundness, tapered fingers, smooth, dark skin, and elegantly swooping nostrils. Like many identical twins, they like to confuse people by playing games with their clothes and hairstyles. One favorite trick involves gradually trading the colored beads at the ends of their braids, so that, for example, Yolanda will start off with nothing but yellow and Yvette with nothing but green. By the end of the week, they'll both be 50-50 yellow and green. Then comes the tricky part. One twin will gradually acquire all the yellow beads and the other all the green. But is the green twin Yolanda taking over her sister's look? Or is it Yvette returning to her original color? Fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, if you're a Gerard twin, there's a simple way for those in the know to tell whether someone is Yolanda or Yvette. Just stand near her and wait. If the twin in question starts to talk, there's a good chance it's Yolanda. If she goes on talking for 3 or 4 sentences, the good chance becomes a certainty. Yolanda once told me in confidence that in her elementary school, they used to call her Yo-Yo Mouth. "Julie Lefkowitz, look at you! You got so tall! Are you taking physics this year? Let's see your schedule. Look, we're in gym together. And English, Ms. Nettleton, no fair. I heard we were supposed to get Ms. Muchneg. Everybody says she's loudly crisp, but she had to go get pregnant. Why would she want a baby when she could have us? Hey, did you do the summer reading? They love Lord of the Flies, don't they? We had it in 8th grade at Sacred Heart, and the next summer in enrichment. If I have to read it one more time, I'm gonna go throw myself off a cliff. They call that book realistic? If you ask me, not even boys would act that way. Speaking of boys, here comes Seth Young. Hey, Seth Young, where have you been all summer? Let's see your schedule. Did you hear about Muchnick? Diagnosis, Yolanda. For the first few days, school had an air of embarrassed festivity. Everyone had come back from their vacations taller, stronger, gawkier, slimmed down, or curvier, with their hair grown past their shoulders or newly cropped and sticking out funny. The lawyers' sons had deep tans from their wilderness adventures, the hippie farmers' daughters from their long days working outdoors. The cliques shimmered like a mirage, and for a moment it seemed as if a former nerd might cross unharmed into the crisp crowd. Then the walls firmed up again, and the moment passed. "Julie, it's time for you to start thinking seriously about college," said my father one Tuesday evening. "Your grades are good, but that's not enough. Admissions officers are going to want to see strong extracurriculars, too. I know you like to write. Have you thought about joining the school newspaper? Or what about the literary magazine?" I groaned silently. The editors of the Byzantine Bugle publish enthusiastic little stories about pep rallies and food drives. Everything has to pass the scrutiny of the administration. The result is loudly dull. The literary magazine, Sailing to Byzantium, isn't so bad. At least it wasn't so bad last year, when Ms. Muchnick was the advisor. With the Much on maternity leave, though, Ms. Nettleton had taken over. 3 periods a week of her was quite enough for me. "I don't know, Dad," I said. "I'm pretty busy with school, plus there's my job at Coneheads." I decided not to tell him that, due to a weather-linked decrease in the demand for frozen treats, Coneheads had let me go for the winter. Anyway, I'm just not into the whole newspaper magazine thing so much. "You know, I wish you'd give up that job," said Dad. "Coneheads isn't exactly the most impressive credential to have on your record. What about student government or science club? That might be even better than the newspaper. The admissions officers like to see well-rounded students." Well-rounded. I glanced ruefully at my bony knees. Which, I wondered, would be worse? To tell my father that a mid-level nobody like me had no chance whatsoever of winning a school government election, essentially a popularity contest, or to express distaste for science, his favorite subject and the basis of his career. For the 1000th time, I envied girls whose fathers had a clue about their interests and personalities. Banking $2 imaginary in the familial restraint fund, I told Dad I would think about it. And I did. What I thought was this: if there were justice in the world, the hours I spent with Ashley would count as an extracurricular activity. Science Club, History Club, and Future Candy Makers of America all smushed together and laid out